There it is. Hello, man. Welcome to my live stream. I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of AndrewsFootball.com. And man, I am jacked up. I'm broadcasting this on Twitch and on my YouTube channel. The software that I'm using, StreamYard, they're actually an excellent streaming software, but I got the free version to save a few dollars. And if I pay more, I can broadcast on multiple platforms. But since I'm just doing one a week, I'm just going to go ahead and stick to just one. For the show tonight, basically I'm going to go over all week 15 games. But like I say, anything goes. Anything goes. So you got something you want to talk about, this is the place to do it. Basically, besides breaking down all the games, I already did a video regarding that. And man, I'm going to have some coffee. It's like my fourth cup today. I am super jacked up. I accidentally used my Keurig cup. I filled it like to the very top. So, oh man, I don't need it. I just want it, man. So I'm going to break down all of week 15, and I thought I'd break down two topics of news. Terrell Suggs was waived earlier in the week. A lot of Chiefs fans are saying, hey, bring him here to Kansas City. Now, he is a 3-4 outside linebacker. Of course, he can play defensive end. I don't really think that he's a good fit for the team. That's just my opinion. Could he help? Absolutely, he could. But the rumor is that he's angling to try to get back to Baltimore, which makes a lot of sense. And ever since Marcus Peters went to Baltimore, they've had, well, you have to understand when the Chiefs played the Ravens, their number one corner, Marlon Humphrey, it's only his second year in the league. I believe it's second year, could be third. He was the only really number one corner. Jimmy Smith was out, so they brought in Marcus Peters. So the Ravens really have three legitimate number one corners, and that's part of the reason why. Now, Lamar Jackson is MVP. I'm not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson. However, I did try some idiot internet troll on Facebook tried telling me Andy Reid's conservative. If Mahomes had a good coach like John Harbaugh, he'd be doing a lot better. I'm like, how conservative? He used Travis Kelce as a quarterback in a while. I mean, call Andy Reid which one he's not conservative. You don't like Andy Reid. I get that. You think Harbaugh's a better coach. I can understand that. I actually really can, but I would disagree on both counts. Lamar Jackson is MVP. I don't want to take anything away from Lamar Jackson. He is MVP, deserves to be MVP. Very fun, very exciting quarterback. But this is a team that when I look at the Ravens, what's really impressed me about the Ravens is the defense. The defense is really good. Earl Thomas not playing the same way he was when he was part of the Legion of Boom. I thought he was the best safety in football. Say about maybe 6-7 years ago. He's not playing at that level, but he's still playing at a high level. And now you have three legitimate number one corners in Baltimore. Terrell Suggs could really help that team, and I think that he'll end up going there. Janoris Jenkins called a fan a retard, and that was dumb, especially in this day and age. But what was even worse was that he, number one, said that it was quote unquote slang. It's part of my culture. Didn't apologize. So when he got confronted by his coach and he didn't apologize, they just released him. I mean, here's a guy who makes $10 million a year, which game check wise, I'm going to guess roughly $600,000. So he's going to lose what, $1.8, $2 million because of this stupid comment. And one thing I don't think that most people understand is that when you're part of a team that's losing, it's really hard. And it's not just hard on you, it's hard on your family. I mean, like, let's say you play for the Giants. It's hard wearing Giants gear to school. It's hard for your kids to wear a coach, hey, my dad plays here, you get called a loser at school, things like that. It's hard on everybody, not just you. So I get the frustration, but all he had to do is just say, hey, look, man, I'm mad. I was frustrated. I did something wrong. No, so he cost himself a couple $1 million. I don't care how rich you are, a couple $1 million or saying you're sorry. It's just a stupid comment. A lot of people are saying, do you want Janoris Jenkins here in Kansas City? That makes more sense. I'm going to drink some coffee here. I know I'm a coffee fiend. Janoris Jenkins makes more sense because he's worked with Spags, that's Steve Spagnuolo, before in New York. You know what you're getting. The secondary's actually played pretty good here in Kansas City. The defense has been much improved. Bringing a guy like this makes a lot of sense. I do think that team will pick him up. I don't think he's a number one corner anymore, but can he help in Kansas City? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, by the way, if you're watching this, I'm just about 5 minutes into it. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I deserve it. And, if you don't like what the fuck I'm saying, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. Tell me I suck. One thing about Andrews football is you don't have to agree with me. This isn't a channel where it's just what I say goes. When I try to have arguments with people or I try to explain my point of view on social media, I'll always listen to your point of view. I want to hear what you have to say. But just the thing is, though, like this idiot who I was talking to on Facebook, 95% of the people that are on social media that make idiotic social media comments, they are idiots. And that's just all there is to it. You're not going to get people that are experts. And I get asked this a lot, what makes me an expert? Because I bet on football and I consistently win. 10.5 wins right here. 10 betting units, 10.5 wins for the Kansas City Chiefs. I need 2 out of the last 3. So this week's a big game. So let's just jump right into it. I am using StreamYard. Hopefully the comments are going through on both Twitch. I just did a dummy run, so I know Twitch is. YouTube should be the same way. So you had some comments, man. Don't just watch, just join the show, man. Like I said, anything goes. What do you want to talk about? The whole point of doing a live stream is just get some interaction with people because I want to know what you think. I know what I think. What do you think? So let's just go down the line here. Let's talk about some of these games. New England at Cincinnati. And for those of you who don't know, New England film crew at first, when it was first released, they weren't associated with the team. Now they were associated with the team. The NFL is going to wait till they do an investigation. I'm telling you right now, I think it's going to be a loss of a number one. I think they're going to lose their first pick in the draft, whatever pick that is. So, and that's not what the NFL wants. And the reason why is that the NFL draft has become a big thing. And the longer they can keep the first round on TV, it's on primetime television. They air the first round on Thursday night. So they want to have all those spots filled. So taking a spot away is 10 minutes of TV time, lots of revenue time, lots of advertising time. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is. So the NFL doesn't want to get rid of a one. They'd rather get rid of the two, but they already traded the second for Sanu. So I think that because they will have to come up with a punishment, I don't think they want to do it, but I think they're going to lose a one. And they'll try to find, like, they'll do a fine, maybe like a third. They'll do all these things. But I think when everything's said and done, it'll be a number one. I really do. I think Patriots lose their first round draft pick this year. I think they'll send a message that this type of behavior isn't good for the league. Now, I will say this. A lot of people want to say that he cheats and everything, but Al Davis, who's one of the most influential people in the NFL, encouraged cheating, just win, baby. And the Raiders during the 70s and the Steelers during the 70s, I mean, they cheated just as much as anybody. They were one of the dirtiest teams in football. It was funny because Fran Tarkenton, he remembers going against the Steel Curtain like he was thinking, what are these guys doing? They're all on steroids, which at the time you were able to be on steroids. Being on steroids was not illegal in the early 70s because so few people knew what it was all about. But the Steel Curtain, especially Mike Webster, he juiced. And that's something that's not really new. So hold on here. Let's shut off one of these settings here. You know what? I'll leave that on. It's not that big a deal. I'm just playing around with some of the settings here. But bottom line, cheating's always been a part of the NFL. Maybe not always, but I know the Raiders were really big on it and during the 70s. So were the Steelers. Lots of other teams have tried different tactics. I think the Patriots, what they did was actually, to be perfectly honest, I got a lot of respect for it. It's brilliant. I mean, a lot of people will say, oh, there's ethics involved. No, there's not. It's $1 billion industry. It's $1 billion industry. Do everything that you can to win. Matter of fact, the Chiefs had a tampering thing. I think it was when they hired Andy Reid. There was some sort of tampering, or was it they violated the Rooney Rule? I don't remember the specifics, but they lost a draft pick over that. So I actually kind of respect New England, but you got to punish them. They're a 10-point favorite at Cincinnati. They probably cover. Cincinnati is starting Jonah. I don't know if he's starting, but he's cleared to practice. I think he's going to play probably significant time. Jonah Williams, the first-round pick. The 11th pick overall. He's been injured almost a whole year. And one thing about Andrews football, and one thing that I cannot emphasize enough, if you want to know if a team's doing good or if a team's doing bad, just look at the offensive line. People want to say, what's wrong with the Rams offense? It's the offensive line. Last year when they went to the Super Bowl, they had all 5 starters start all 16 games. This year it's been the complete opposite. And when you have offensive line problems, you have team problems. You have problems in the running game. You have problems in the passing game. So, I mean, a lot of people feel like you can just plug and play offensive linemen. That's really not the case. I mean, all 5 guys have to work as a cohesive unit. One of the things I do when I DVR football games is I look at the offensive and defensive lines. One of the things about the New England Patriots is not, people want to say it's Brady getting old. No, it's that offensive line. I mean, all you got to do is take a look. That offensive line isn't very good. So the Patriots offense, they only put up 16 against Kansas City's defense. Kansas City, I love Kansas City. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Chiefs fan, but their defense isn't a lights-out defense. They've been playing a lot better, but they're not lights out. Man, I love coffee. Next game I want to talk about, Tampa Bay at Detroit. Detroit's 5.5-point dog at home. Tampa's won 3 straight. This is going to be one of the most interesting topics going into the offseason is Jameis Winston. Now, 4 out of his last 5 games, he's thrown for over 300 yards passing, including 456 last week. And the game against Jacksonville, where he was under 300 yards, they just had a big lead. So he would have thrown over 300 if the game was closer. This is a guy who's currently at 4,115 yards. So if you're doing the math, he's averaging over 300 a game. So he would hit 5,000. And there's only, let me see here, 7 quarterbacks have done that. Breeze, I didn't know this. Breeze thrown for over 5,000 yards 5 times. He's the only one who's done it more than once. The others are Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, Ben Roethlisberger, and Patrick Mahomes. Oops, I forgot Peyton Manning. So Winston's going to join a very select crew, but this is a guy could be a free agent. There could be a team that could trade a draft pick for this guy. Don't be surprised if a team trades for Winston. I wouldn't be. I mean, this is a guy with huge upside, but ultimately I think he stays in Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to say, hey, look, we got a franchise quarterback. We're going to build a team around him. But it is going to be something that's going to be talked about quite a bit until he signs a long-term extension with Tampa Bay. Does Tampa Bay trade him because they fall in love with somebody in the draft? It's a possibility. It's something that's going to be talked about. It's one of the more interesting topics. I personally am pulling for Winston to hit 5,000, but I'm just kind of a numbers junkie. Chicago at Green Bay. Green Bay's 4.5-point favorite. Chicago has 3 straight wins, so now they have a shot for the playoffs. They have some tough games, of course, at Green Bay, home against Kansas City the following week. So, but do they have a chance? Sure. If they lose this game and go 7-7, they're pretty much mathematically eliminated. I actually think it's 7-6 because the best they can do is finish 10-6. I don't think 10-6 gets you in the playoffs this year. But I mean, technically, they're still in the playoff hunt. Green Bay 4.5-point favorite at home. That I think that's a pretty safe bet. But It'll be a very interesting game. Houston at Tennessee. Tennessee's a 3-point favorite at home. Remember, they play Houston twice in the next 3 weeks. Tennessee has the hardest road to get to the playoffs of any team. Well, maybe Chicago has a harder road. I personally feel it's Tennessee, though. They have to play Houston twice, sandwiched in between a game against the Saints. But I got a hunch Houston wins this game. Tennessee's 3-point favorite. I don't see Tennessee covering because I think Houston's going to. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I don't like the way I said that. Take two. I think Houston wins, but I wouldn't bet on it. Okay. Houston, the money line, if I remember right, I think it was 125. I won't look, but if you're interested, don't forget, you can always hit me up. I got it right down here, askandrewsfootball@yahoo.com. I will, if you normally ask for 24 hours, I'll be checking my email late tonight. So if there's a game that you want to talk about, just hit me up and I'll try to get back to you tonight. I'll be honest with you tomorrow because I am going to Arrowhead, which is the next game I'm going to talk about. I won't get back to you because I'm going to wake up, head straight over to my dad's house. I'll probably wake up really early, like around 7. So I'll be kind of like a zombie until I get to my dad's house. But that's another topic. But Denver at Kansas City, the line was at 10, dropped down to 9.5. Some people are really high on lock or just think that's going to be a close game, and it could be. It's now back up to 10. This is the first game on my 3-game parlay. I'm fully aware it's supposed to be snow. I still like over 45.5 on this game. The last 3 games, the overs for the Kansas City Chiefs have been under 50. I got a feeling this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think Chiefs will put up some points. I think Denver will put up some points. I think it'll be a fun game. I hope it's not close, but I kind of expect it to be. I think Denver's a team really on the rise, and I'm going to talk about this a lot during the offseason because what I do is during the offseason, I'm going to make videos breaking this down, but I break down all 32 teams. I use a plus-minus scale. What team's going to be better in the offseason? What team's going to be worse in the offseason? If I take a veteran team, an older team, a team with a lot of free agents, they obviously get a minus sign. If you're a team that's got a lot of young, up-and-coming talent like the Denver Broncos, I mean, Noah Fant, he's starting to kind of explode. Drew Lock, of course, is going to be the future starter for the Denver Broncos. Remember, Bradley Chubb comes back. He was the 5th pick in the draft just last year, a guy who I think is going to be a really, really damn good player. Not only that, you take pressure off the best player on the Denver Broncos, that's Von Miller. You put a big name pass rusher on the other side. So I think Denver, everything's looking up for the future of the Denver Broncos. Don't forget, with losing Emmanuel Sanders to San Francisco, you also get, I think it was a 3rd and a 5th, if I remember right, but you get some draft capital in case you want to jump up in the draft if you see somebody they want to get. I know that they're going to fix the offensive line. I don't know if you're planning on using the draft or if they're going through free agency, but the Denver Broncos are going to do some things in the offseason, but they're really a team on the rise. That said, they're not going to win at Arrowhead. Miami at the New York Giants. 2 teams really building for 2020. I think Pat Shurmur's on the way out. You can't be 4-12 and then possibly be 2-14. I mean, it's been long. I mean, they were 2-2, and now they're 2-8, 2-9. God, what are they? I mean, how many games in a row have they lost here? Oh wow, 2-11, and they've lost 9 straight. Yeah, that gets you fired in the NFL. It's unfortunate because I think he's a good offensive mind, and they have some pieces and injuries in play, so it's not really all his fault. He'll go to a team as an offensive coordinator, and maybe he'll go to the college ranks. I don't know what he's thinking, but he's a really, really good offensive mind. I think if he goes somewhere as an offensive coordinator, he'll do a fantastic job. Philly at Washington. Washington's a 6-point dog. I've been saying this since it happened. I think Callahan needs a minimum of 4 wins. Callahan hits 4 wins, he'll have an opportunity to interview for the Washington Redskins job. I think he needs a minimum of 4 to be really seriously considered. He has 3. So if he wins this week against the Eagles, a team that's trying to get into the playoffs, I think Daniel Snyder has no choice to at least interview him. Does Daniel Snyder have somebody that he wants to bring in? Is he got a name in mind? I don't know. Personally, I think that Chiefs offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, who's going to be a head coach sooner or later, I think as soon as 2020, that would be a good fit for the Redskins. But if Callahan gets the 4 wins, if I'm Dan Schneider, because of the Rooney Rule, if you're not familiar, the Rooney Rule says that you have to interview a minority candidate for a head coach and major executive positions among the NFL rules. I didn't research the Rooney Rule before I came in here. Basically, it says you have to interview somebody. So they'll interview Eric Bieniemy as part of the Rooney Rule. But if I'm the Redskins, I interview Bieniemy, but I hire Callahan. I give him a chance because I think the team's looked a lot better. And I think some stability within that organization is a good thing for a change. But everybody knows this. You don't know what to expect with the Washington Redskins. Who knows what they're going to do? Next game, Seattle at Carolina. Carolina's a 6.5-point dog. I really, really like this game. This would be a game I would strongly suggest putting action on. I think Seattle will cover 6.5. I think that's a really smart bet. Excuse me. That's one of the games I really feel good on. It's not part of my trifecta, but maybe it should be. That's probably the game that I would strongly recommend putting action on. Jacksonville at Oakland. Oakland's a 6.5-point favorite. I kind of want to see how Jacksonville plays. Minshew Magic. Let's see if that can take off. Now, they spent a lot of money on Foles, but the way the contract's set up is you can release them after 2020. I think that what they'll do is go into 2020 with Foles, Minshew, and they could either draft a quarterback or get a big name free agent again. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But if Minshew does better than he did last week, or if he shows promise in the last couple of games, you may want to go into 2020 with Minshew. That's what I would do. But Doug Marone's job's also on the line with a new coach. Could mean definitely a new quarterback and some organizational changes. One thing about Jacksonville is they have 2 first-round draft picks. One's going to be pretty high. The other one from the Rams is probably going to be somewhere in the either high teens or low 20s, but you can parlay those 2 picks to trade up. But I think this year is going to be really, really hard to trade up into the top picks. But I'll talk about this more when it comes around because I think Chase Young is going to be very, very valuable in that draft. There's going to be a lot of talk with right now it looks like Cincinnati Bengals are going to get the first overall pick in the draft. Do you take the local kid and Chase Young, or do you go with Joe Burrow, LSU quarterback who's going to win the Heisman? Cleveland at Arizona, 2 teams that are not looking at quarterbacks, two really young guys. Cleveland's really been playing some pretty damn good football the last 5 weeks. They've gone 4-1. That's since they added Kareem Hunt. It's not just because of Kareem Hunt, but I think he's had a lot to do with it. He's going to be a free agent after this year. And I think a lot of teams are really going to want this guy. This is a guy who can use really a stud running back and can be used in a variety of different ways. I mean, this guy can run inside. He can run outside. He's a good receiver. I think Kareem Hunt's going to be awesome. I think he's going to get a lot of money. I think he's really going to help a lot of teams or a lot of teams are going to be interested in him. So it will be very interesting to see where Kareem Hunt goes in the offseason. I think there's almost no chance he stays in Cleveland. But that's a different topic, different day. Minnesota at Arizona. Sorry. Minnesota at Los Angeles. They're playing the Chargers. Chargers are 1.5-point dog in this one. I got a weird feeling the Chargers win this one. Minnesota's 3-4 on the road, and the only unbeaten home team in the NFL. But they don't play very well. They don't play very well on the road. All right, they just don't play very well on the road. So, I don't really see them I just think the Chargers win this game. I just do. I wouldn't put action on it. I just think they win this game. It just seems to be a game that Minnesota drops. They're really, really good at home. They're not that good on the road. They play Green Bay in 2 weeks at home. So they may just not be as excited about this game. It's a weird game. Do not put action on, but I actually do like the Chargers to win this one, believe it or not. Next game, Rams at Dallas. This is my game of the week. I've been talking about this all week. I love this game. A lot of people have been listening to me. It's not just me, but the line went from 1 to 1.5. Hopefully, if you bet on this game, you listened to me early and got one. This is definitely my game of the week. I think the Rams win this game and could win this game really easily. They're just a better team than the Dallas Cowboys right now. I think Dallas Cowboys are kind of in disarray. Keep in mind, I'm sticking with my prediction. I think the Cowboys are going to win the East. They're going to travel to Philly 2 weeks from now, and they're going to win that game and win the East. The question is, are they going to be an 8-8 team, a 7-9 team, or are they going to be a 9-7 team? It'll be very interesting to see what they do, but they already beat Philly once. I think they'll sweep Philly and end up winning the East, going to the playoffs. And but this is my game of the week. Take the Rams even at 1.5. That's a smart bet. Atlanta at San Francisco. San Francisco is a 10.5 point favorite at 11-2. They're still the 1 seed. I'm sticking with Seattle winning the division, but this is a game San Francisco needs to win. I think Dan Quinn, no matter what, is gone after the season, but a win here will really help his resume and some consideration. If there is a chance that he could keep his job, a win here would really help that. Personally, I think he goes back to being a defensive coordinator, but a guy like Dan Quinn, if he wanted to go to the college ranks or if he wants another head coaching job, that's definitely something that could happen in the future. Just a bad year for him. So I don't see him sticking around, win or lose, but I do think San Francisco wins this game. 10.5 is a big number, so bet at this at your own peril. Ooh, man, I love my coffee. All right, Sunday night football, Buffalo at Pittsburgh. The same game was Pittsburgh was a 2-point favorite. Now they're a 1-point favorite, meaning that people are betting on Buffalo. I like Pittsburgh in this game. I like them to win. I think they are going to win this game. I said a couple weeks ago that the playoffs were sorted out, not so fast, because Buffalo and Pittsburgh play each other. I think Pittsburgh beats Buffalo. I think Pittsburgh will leapfrog Buffalo and get that 5 seed, which I think is big because you're going to play an AFC South team instead of the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that if you ask these players man to man, who do you want to play in the playoffs, Buffalo, Tennessee, or Kansas City? Or let's better yet, which team do you not want to play, Buffalo, Kansas City, or Tennessee? You're going to say Kansas City because it's at Arrowhead, which is a tougher venue to play at. It's definitely going to be louder, and you're going against Patrick Mahomes and a team that's just better. And before you say, well, Houston and Tennessee beat Kansas City, I get that. I get that. I give you your credit, but are you a better team than Kansas City? And you're not. And I think deep down you know this. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm just saying I don't think so. Now, that's another thing about Tennessee, though, is that Ryan Tannehill, where is he going to stay? The team's playing better with him. Marcus Mariota will be an interesting free agent. I would love it if he wanted to be a backup here in Kansas City. I don't see that. I think some team will look at him and try to use him as a starter, but we'll see what happens. I do like Pittsburgh to win this game. Indianapolis at New Orleans. The Saints are a 9-point favorite. This is my third game of the trifecta. I like over 46.5. The Colts put up 35 last week in Tampa Bay, and that's not a terrible defense there. The Saints, I think, have a better defense in Tampa Bay. But I do like 46.5. I think both these teams can score. I do think Saints would cover, but I do think while the Saints will cover in this game, the smarter plays 46.5. So basically my 3-game trifecta is Kansas City and Denver despite the snow. 45.5. Take the over. My game of the week is the Rams at Dallas. I liked it at 1. You could take 1.5 and you're still safe. I think the Rams could win this game by at least a touchdown. And then Colts at Saints. I like the over 46.5. Bonus coverage for you if you're watching. Seahawks 6.5 points. Favorites at Carolina. They will cover that. They need that win. So, and Carolina looks like a team really in disarray. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the offseason. And, because they have the Cam Newton, they have to hire a coach. There's a lot of different things about them. So, hey, listen, I'm going to go ahead and cut the live stream short tonight. If you're watching this, you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams are going to come true. If you know somebody who wants to join some football talk or just needs some good karma, man, have them subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. So listen, man, hey, I'm going to have my top 5 Kansas City Chiefs of all time video released Monday. I want to have my Tuesday review of week 15 coming out. And then Friday, of course, I'm going to preview week 16. So listen, man, thank you very much for tuning in today. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, or hey, man, if you hated the show and you think I suck, you can give me a thumbs down. Either way, hey, man, listen, I love each and every single one of you. You have a great weekend. Don't forget to watch my top 5 Kansas City Chiefs of all time. Number 3 is Monday. So, hey, man, I'll see you Monday.